So this week we have the 2024 BMW X2 xDrive 28i, BMW naming conventions. And this car is very hit or miss for both of us, actually. Like, we both have strong feelings about different aspects of this little BMW. So stick with us and we're gonna kind of break it down, but it's definitely in pros and cons. So if we start to be kind of negative, don't worry, there's some positives coming, and we both liked and disliked different aspects of the BMW X2. So if you're in the market for a small hatchback and you would like it to be a little bit more luxurious, hopefully you'll find this useful.
So
Which
we're in a little.
once a week.
It does not. That is a big lie. You can't tell me when was the last time I sneezed this much.
Last weekend.
That's a lie.
Okay.
We are here with BMW X2, which is like a small, what do you call it, a hatchback.
Yes.
This is not my cup of tea. This car specifically, but just like this genre more widely, is not my cup of tea. I am not the person that's going to go out and buy a small luxury
hatchback.
Yeah, like it's not me.
So styling when it comes to BMWs is like kind of the biggest controversial thing right now, because BMW styling has gone kind of off the rails. You have some models that are still decent looking. You have some models that are downright horrific looking. And then you have some models that fall somewhere in the middle. Or in the case of this BMW X2, it depends on how you're looking at it. For example, if you're kind of in this area in the front kind of 3/4 view, it's not that bad. You've got the sort of bigger, more angular BMW grille. The headlights look pretty nice. Keep in mind, this is a small hatchback, and so if you don't want a big car, this one is fully loaded, and it's got a lot of options on it that you would not find sort of a mainstream vehicle of this size. So stepping up to a BMW, a luxury brand, they're throwing a lot of tech at this. Now, it does come with a price that we'll talk about in a little while, but from this angle, I don't mind it all that much. It has the M Sport package, so it blacks out a couple things, gives it the 19-inch wheels, even on this 28i version, so that's not bad. But here's the angle. I think the side view of this is frankly like pretty terrible. Like,
There's a porta potty in the background.
Really don't. That's weirdly appropriate. It's like kind of weirdly appropriate for what we're going for here. I really don't like the way the X2 looks from the side. I think it really highlights its front-wheel drive sort of architecture. I think the overhangs are big. I think the wheels, even at 19, look like they're kind of like too far in, like the wheelbase is too short and the car looks kind of sitting on top. I just don't like anything about the side profile. I was actually sitting next to its sort of sister car, the X1, in traffic the other day, and I was just thinking from the side profile, I just really preferred the way that the X1 looked versus the X2. And I felt that way about the previous gen, and I definitely feel that way about this gen. But to be fair, let's go to its most successful angle, which I think is here, the sort of rear 3/4 view. I think this is the best angle of the car. I like the way the tail lights look. I think they look kind of cool. I like the black trim of the spoiler, and it looks pretty clean because they integrate the hatchback control into the BMW sort of roundel. So I like the rear sort of 3/4, the front 3/4. I think this car was universally, and you might be somewhat of the exception, both of our kids didn't like the way it looked. I work at an auto shop running social media and stuff like that, and nobody there liked the way that this thing looked. Everybody was like, "Ooh, man." Now, color-wise, great. Black exterior accents thanks to the M package. Great. It's just something about BMW design now. It's just like daring to be different. It reminds me of the Chris Bangle days of the early 2000s. They went off on this tangent of sort of these wild designs, and a lot of times they missed way more than they hit. So for me, the X2 is a bit of a miss, okay? That's a shame because there's other things about this car that I actually kind of like.
Whoa, why would you park there? That's the worst spot in the whole lot. Nuh-uh. Nope, that's too tight. Don't do that. What about, no. Why would you, no, not there. Not there. Why would you do that?
Working with your spouse is not always easy.
Especially when it's with this guy.
So you can imagine that it's important to keep lines of communication open. Sometimes that means talking to somebody.
Like a licensed therapist.
We've done this in the past to ensure that we're being the best version of ourselves for each other. And that's how we've been able to stay married for 20 years.
21.
That's how we've been able to stay married for 21 years.
And it's not just for us. We've been high school teachers for over 20 years, and we have 2 teenage daughters, so we take mental health very seriously.
We see the positive benefit in young people when they have someone that they feel that they can trust and that they can talk to. And that need, it doesn't just go away when you get older. If anything, it's just as important. That's where BetterHelp comes in, the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen. Go to betterhelp.com/Jax, that's Jax, to get connected to a professional with years of experience.
For introverts like me, it's perfect because you can do it all from your phone or computer via video chat, phone call, or messaging.
And you'll usually be matched with a therapist within the first 48 hours, so you can get started as soon as possible. So let BetterHelp connect you with a licensed therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home.
Visit betterhelp.com/Jax, Jax, to receive a discount off your first month.
That's betterhelp.com/Jax and start prioritizing your mental health today. So, where do you want to go eat dinner?
I don't care.
How about Mexican?
No.
Italian?
No.
American?
No.
Pizza?
No, definitely not. But from the outside, some people dislike it. Our kids said it was really ugly. I don't mind the outside. It looks like a hatchback. It looks like a cute little. I mean, it's got the classic BMW grill and stuff.
Well, yes.
Which to me is
does.
what you would expect in a BMW.
Who
I
in the
really like
BMW?
this color. I know gray is the it color right now.
It is the it color.
Yeah.
This is a very nice shade.
It looks really good,
Yeah.
and with the black accents, I think the BMW badging's all over the place, which is what you would expect. I don't know. The shape doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it kind of looks cool. So I'm gonna be honest with you, but I don't hate the way it looks. I think the back end's kind of fun. So when the kids were like, "That's ugly," oh,
Well, they're very picky.
they are. Now I'm gonna try to open this.
No, press it. There you
Oh.
go. You have the key?
No,
Well, there you go.
it's in the car. Should we pause and come back?
Well, now we have to.
I bet the viewers are I feel so sorry for her that her husband is not the least bit supportive.
I bet the viewers are a medical professional could probably help her with these allergies.
If this channel ends, you'll know why. Oh, that is kind of fun, though. So this has how many cubic feet?
I believe it's 25.
So we went shopping. We took Ella back to college.
Back to college.
Shopping.
Going to college.
And we put a bunch of stuff back here, including a hamper.
Yeah.
It fit sideways.
Yeah.
So we kind of loaded this thing out. So space-wise, not bad for a tiny little hatchback.
Yeah, it's surprisingly good for
Yeah.
the shape. 25 is pretty
Because we fit
solid.
all that stuff, and we had me and both girls in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm the shortest of the bunch at 5'9", so it was a lot of people, long-wise
Not
people.
literally.
A lot of people. And then we had this thing packed, but I mean, we got a lot of stuff, so
Yeah.
serves its purpose.
All right, underneath the hood, you could interpret this as a strength or a weakness, kind of depending on your perspective, okay? Let's talk about the strength. This is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, and it makes 241 horsepower and almost 300 pound-feet of torque, which is definitely kind of a strength. That's what I was talking about, running through a 7-speed dual clutch and hitting the ground via BMW's X-Drive all-wheel drive. Now, that is a strength to me in this class of vehicle because having almost 300 pound-feet of torque in a vehicle of this size is substantial, and you definitely notice it. Now, is a small turbocharged 4-cylinder necessarily what you're super excited about when you buy a BMW? Well, not really. And this is sort of sharing componentry with I think it's the Mini Clubman. Yeah, engine, powertrain, some stuff like that with the Mini Clubman. That's what I mean about the negative side. If you're kind of a purist or whatever, you might be oh, well, it's not, really the purest of BMW engines. It functions really well. And it actually, if you put your foot to the floor in this thing, it's got some get up and go. Now, that 7-speed dual clutch, it does a good approximation of a sporty transmission when you're driving hard. The problem is I am an enthusiast and a bit of an animal, and that's how I would drive a car. But you are not. You're a normal human being. And so if you like to drive
Not
like a
an
normal
animal.
human being, you might not love some of the behaviors of this powertrain. Okay, we'll get to that in 2 seconds. One other positive. 30 miles per gallon is about the average that I was seeing over the course of a week of a lot of commuting. So that is good. I think
pretty
it's
good.
kind of mid-20s in the city, 32, 33 on the highway. I was seeing 29 to 30 in day-to-day driving. So definitely not bad. But in that day-to-day driving, for a normal person, there are a few drawbacks. Let's talk about that.
All right, I'm driving the BMW X2 2024. A luxury hatchback because it's a BMW. This is not the vehicle that I would buy, this class of vehicles. So let's go ahead and just take that. So anything I
Already
say,
biased.
really just take it with a grain of salt. It's just my honest opinions. So do I think all the tech is cool? That's in here, yes. We'll talk about that when we talk about the interior. So, but what I always thought was that BMWs drove really well. I am not a driving enthusiast, but I don't love the way this car drives. When it's driving, it's fine, but starting and stopping to me are not great. And you said the starting, it's a little rough because of the, like, do you feel that rumble that does that?
Yeah, the auto start-stop is terrible.
Yeah, I don't like that, the way that feels at all. And then I just feel like the brake is a little grabby. Do you? Yeah. And that's like two of the big, and I know those are like, you know, the gas and the brake, but like, I want my car to start smoothly and to stop smoothly. Those are very important. Like, all the stuff that's in the middle is fine. Like, it gets up to speed great. It feels very smooth. It's a smooth drive. I don't mind it at all. It's the starting and the stopping, though, bother me a little bit. But like, maybe the brakes would be something you get used to, but like, I like a car where I can just get in and drive. And there's not like a breaking it in period where I have to like get used to how the brakes feel. This car definitely has a little bit of a getting used to period. The seat is very comfortable. I'm very comfortable driving this car. The back is comfortable, so I enjoy the experience. The other thing is that I took this to the store the other day, and I went to park, and I had to call him and say, I don't know how to put this car in park. Like, stuff like that. It is not embarrassing. Stuff like that drives me insane. There is a reverse neutral drive. There is no park on here. And I was like, I don't know how to do it. It's the parking brake. You like hit the parking brake.
Yeah, it does it all.
And so like, I assumed that's what it was, but I am not going to mess around with the press car. So I called him and I was like, hey, how do I put this in park? I don't want to get out and it, you know, roll away.
You don't like when someone has to explain it to you.
Exactly. Because that's ridiculous. That to me is, let's just be fancy. Why on earth do we need to put the car in park by putting on the parking brake? Like, that is just a weird thing to me. I don't like that. Like I said, the technology and stuff is cool, but like, there are things like that rumble. I really, and see, then it's like so jerky.
That's the engine turning on and off.
Yeah, I don't like it. And then when you start it, it's kind of jerky. I don't like that.
I think that's the dual clutch. This has a dual clutch instead of a regular on it.
Yeah, I don't like that. So, but like, maybe if you're a driving enthusiast, that's the kind of, I don't know, maybe you would like that. No.
No, I'll talk more about
Spoiler
that.
alert. So anyway, that's the steering wheel is nice. It's comfortable. It does have the thing here that I don't like, but it's very very fat. Is that
That's
like a sporty
BMW
thing? Yeah, I do love this. The steering wheel is great. It feels great. The seat's comfortable. The materials on the seat are great. I don't mind the dash. I think it's all, I don't really get what a lot of it means. I guess I do. It just looks kind of weird. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about that.
Not your favorite car from behind the wheel? Okay. Well, maybe in other aspects. We'll see.
You know what else I don't like?
Uh-oh.
Just while we're talking about it, you can't adjust the height of the seatbelt.
You can't?
No. You know how normally you can move the thing up? Because all my height is in my legs. I have a short torso and long legs.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
It's like coming out of the thing, and I can't move it up and down. So it's like, see how it's cutting me in my neck? And I can't move it.
Huh,
like
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Because I have a short, I'm short from this part of me, so I have to like.
Germans are too tall.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's like one of the first things I do when I get in a car is adjust it. Have you ever noticed that? I move it way now.
That does explain a lot.
Yeah.
Because that is probably why it's not comfortable for me.
Well, you can move it up.
Oh,
it's an easy fix, honey. I love you.
Sure you do. All right, so when you're behind the wheel of the xDrive 28i, I want to give it a little bit of credit from things that I enjoy as the enthusiast driver of the family. But then I'm also going to have to echo what you said about the auto start-stop system and the behavior of the dual clutch. Because if you are just tuning into our channel or you've never watched it before, you might think like, oh, well, you know, she's representing the everyday viewpoint and he's representing someone who's more of an enthusiast driver like me, so maybe he doesn't feel the same way about some of these negatives. And unfortunately, I do. I'm not a fan of the auto start-stop system in BMWs. I think it's one of the most intrusive, especially because weirdly in BMWs, as you're coming to a stop, it like anticipates almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say it like goes off when you're still driving.
Yeah, like while you're still braking.
Yeah.
You know what else it does this in is the secret BMW, the not so secret BMW, the Toyota Supra. The Toyota Supra, which is based on the BMW Z4, does the exact same thing, and I find it hugely irritating.
And like when you just pulled away from that start, that little
yeah,
that little stutter, I don't like it.
That's the other thing about using a dual clutch. Now, in the Toyota Supra, you have a button that can turn off the auto start-stop right on the console, and it has a ZF 8-speed or a manual transmission, so you have a very smooth throttle and brake. This uses a dual clutch, and for some reason, it gives you this sort of abrupt surge of power from a dead standstill. So you're at a red light, the light turns green, you gently tip into the throttle, and you tip, and you tip, and you tip, and then it goes, and it's too much. I've tried this multiple times as delicately as I can, and it never feels like it quite matches what I'm doing with my foot. And as an enthusiast, I'm telling you that from my perspective, I find it really irritating because I like to drive, and the relationship of my feet with the transmission and my hands on the steering wheel is like all the fun of driving. And so that behavior is annoying to you, the sort of layperson who doesn't care about the driving characteristics, and it's annoying to me, the enthusiast who does care about the driving characteristics. No, from like a comfort and like, you know, your kind of everyday usability. Yeah. I'm talking about like from a performance standpoint. So from a non-performance standpoint and a performance standpoint, the behavior of the auto start stop and the transmission is annoying. Now, positives. This car does drive in every other way better than it has any right to, okay? It's a front wheel drive based architecture, and it is that kind of BMW suspension magic. It's compliant while still being sporty. I actually took it up in the foothills when I was working up in North Georgia a couple days ago, and I was on some curvy roads, so I kind of got after it a little bit, and I'm sitting here kind of laughing going, okay, well, there's still a BMW-ness to this chassis. Like, it was taking some of these corners, and it was kind of like having fun in the steering wheel. Like, it still has that element. It's not like they've abandoned it completely. So I think that makes the negatives and the frustrations even more frustrating, because like, it does drive very well in every other way. The other big selling point plus about this is the engine. With almost 300 pound-feet of torque on tap in a vehicle of this size, with it's turbocharged too, so you're getting it kind of down low, that kind of whoosh of torque, it's legitimately like peppy. I think the 0 to 60 time is quoted as like 5.7 seconds. That's not slow. That's not a whole lot slower than the previous gen Civic Type R, which was just over 5 seconds. So the fact that you get all that, you got this big sporty M Sport steering wheel because it's got the sport package, like, there are some pros to the driving experience, and you're still getting 30 mile per gallon average fuel economy. So I think for me, I don't love the way this car looks. I don't love other things about it, but I do like being behind the wheel. And for me as a driver, if I like the materials and the tech and everything, if the driving experience, if you deducted those irritations and it drove the way it does, like kind of sporty and has a little bit of like character to it, a little bit of that BMW essence, I would be a lot more likely to forgive the exterior styling. Because when you're in a car, you're in a car, right? When you own a car and stuff, you're behind the wheel. Like, you're not outside looking at it. Yes, I'm as a car enthusiast, I do, you know, you want to look back in the parking lot and look at your car, and I get all that. But I'm just saying, we spend most of our time here behind the wheel, and these are comfortable seats with no lumbar, which makes no sense to me, but thank God my scoliosis back is okay with them. But like, the driving experience, like right now, like, is great.
It's good.
Like, yeah, totally
this
fine.
Is the middle part I was talking about when you made fun of me.
Yeah, the middle part of the driving experience. Yeah, this is fine. And ergonomically, if you're okay with your climate control being in the infotainment, like, it's also fine. And the wheel, oh, by the way, I did have a chance to sample the adaptive cruise control. Some of the best steering calibration that I think is out there. Very nice, very subtle. It does a good job centering itself in the lane. It does want you to maintain some type of attention to the wheel. It does not like for you to let go of the wheel for an extended amount of time, which I find increasingly irritating as we're moving further and further into a semi-autonomous style of driving. When you have GM has Super Cruise and Tesla's working on self-driving and all that kind of stuff, I do think a company like BMW that's pushing tech so much, and this is fully loaded, it should be a little more hands-free, okay? I hate to say autonomous because, like, legally people don't want to say that because it's not, but I do think it should allow you to be a little bit more hands-free than it was. Now, from an operation standpoint, though, it's pretty great. So I did have a chance to sample that. It's just a shame to me that the stop and go traffic, the thing you're most likely to encounter in your daily life, is where this car suffers. And the enthusiast driving is where it shines, is the thing you're least likely to do. And I think that kind of sums up my overall feelings about this car in general in a lot of ways. Okay, so I did something that I don't normally do here. I'm doing this with the car running because I wanted you to be able to see the screens just a little bit. One of the things that I think this car's strong suit is the quality of the materials in here. So this is a nearly $53,000 BMW X2, and it's the 28i, so it's not even the 35. Okay, so I already told you in the driving portion why you should get the 28i instead of the 35, because I think that's unnecessary. So to me, having a loaded 28 actually makes a weird kind of sense, because if you just wanted plenty of power to get around town, which the 28 has, while still returning good fuel economy, but you wanted all the options, and I mean all the options. This thing, the materials are fantastic, the seats are great and comfortable, although why they don't have lumbar, I don't know. Also, they lack cooling, which to me, if you get a fairly loaded BMW and you have heated seats, heated steering wheel, memory seats, Harman Kardon audio, which the speaker actually has kind of texture to it, which is like kind of cool. Like you touch it, it actually like has texture on your skin. You have the Pano sunroof, you have all of the infotainment options. Why don't you have cooled seats? I know we live in a hot climate here in Atlanta, but like it just seems to me like you would have that. The adaptive cruise control works pretty well. The gauge cluster and infotainment screens look fantastic. The head-up display looks fantastic. All of these things look great and function really well. Now, do I think it's all strictly necessary? No, in typical BMW fashion, they kind of go overboard. To get a vehicle this small and this sort of everyday usable and still get the ambient lighting and still get all of these things is really nice. Now, as you mentioned, there's a couple ergonomic kind of miscues, but I actually like this sort of floating center console. I like that the gear select is right here. It's not the most intuitive, as you said, not the most intuitive gear selector.
Not intuitive at all.
But like, I like that it's here and I like the volume knob. It's just, I like the way everything is laid out. I really enjoyed being behind the wheel of this car. Like I said in the driving portion, for what it is, it drives well. Like in the technology, and I don't know, see if you can come over a little bit and see the screen here. I've got my CarPlay hooked up and I can go into my CarPlay and I still have the buttons here to switch right back, and I can go to my apps and then I can go right back to CarPlay. Like, it's very intuitive. Now it does put your climate control on just the screen. So there's that. But the fact that you can go through all this stuff so easily is really nice, and it's fairly intuitive, and you can also customize it with all your BMW stuff. Can you maybe customize out that auto start stop? I know you can turn it off in the screen. I wish it had a hard button because it's so intrusive. I really don't like BMW's auto start stop, but it looks like maybe you can make it your driver profile to not have it on. So if you have a BMW and you know you can do that, comment down below and let us know. But like, from behind the wheel, I really enjoyed this. Now, I'm going to say this once because we always try to be very honest with you guys. Everything about this interior and tech and stuff worked well, except one time. The CarPlay like freaked out and it was dropping in and out of my podcast all the time, my navigation all the time. No matter what I did, I had to fully disconnect the phone, restart the car, repair the phone, and everything worked fine. It only happened once, but we only have these cars for a week. So I just want to be straightforward with you guys and let you know it worked flawlessly, except one time it worked horribly. Other than that, it's a pretty fantastic place to be behind the wheel. You got to give it credit, no matter what the outside looks like. So as you could probably expect, because I am almost 6.5 feet tall, fitting back here was not going to be very easy for me. And full disclosure, this seat is back where you would have it when you were driving. I actually had it slightly further back. I just preferred it being a little bit further back in this case.
Yeah, I actually pulled it up a little bit.
Yes, so I'm not even close to like fitting behind myself. Remember, I'm 6.5 feet tall, so like that's a crazy kind of use case. Now, one positive of having a BMW that is fully loaded, the materials and the quality back here for a car in this class are phenomenal. This is a great place to be. The seat is incredibly comfortable. The leather on these seats feels very upmarket. It feels like a luxury car. You get the little touches of your Harman Kardon audio, and I'm also surprised by, like, I have decent headroom where I'm sitting normally, and this has a pano roof. So the fact that I can still have some decent headroom is good. You got vents, you got charge ports, you got all those things. So I just wanted to kind of show you what someone who's absurdly tall looks like in the back of this. But hopefully you're not sitting behind yourself if you're 6.5 feet tall.
Okay, so we're in the interior of the BMW X2, and the interior to me is one of the positives about this car. I think it looks lovely. It's got the seats are very comfortable.
Yeah.
I thought. It's got all sorts of like different materials, which I thought was fun. It has like this, whatever this little thing is. It's got the leather. It's got the brown leather. It's got whatever this is. It's got whatever this is. Like this thing, like there's a lot of, but like to me, it's all done really nicely. So like it looks high end, luxurious or whatever. It's got the door handle, which is not a little cup holder thing. Not a cup holder, but like a little, you can't put your AirPods in there, you know? Yeah. It is what it is. I like the screen. It has all the cool things on it. This is the thing I do not like. Now, I don't hate this for like the drive reverse stuff, but like, look, reverse, neutral, drive. Where is park? Oh, it's the parking brake back here. Like, I don't get that. I never use the knobby. I don't know. Did you use that? Do you like a knob like that?
Oh, the volume little
roll guy? Yeah.
No, it's not bad.
I don't hate the under thing here. Gives you a little space to keep like your phone and your sunglasses.
Yeah, because you have like space down
there.
there.
Yeah. It fits the stand, but not super great. I don't love this like enclosed part of the cup holder. It makes it kind of like you can't really fit a lot of stuff. What's this back here? Is this a charge?
That's a charger.
But see, the charger's in the way of the cup. I feel like it's all kind of cramped right there.
Yeah, the charger behind
is
the
not,
cups
like
is
the
not,
charger to me should be down here.
Yeah.
Like you've got space down here. Why don't we put it down here?
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Having it behind the cup holder is not great.
Yeah, and then this tiny little console, I don't really get. Like, what good is that?
I mean, in case you have a credit card.
A tiny little credit card. Or like AirPods, I guess, could fit in here.
Yeah, you were just complaining about your AirPods not being able to
So now I found a place for them. Yeah. But like not much else is going to fit in there.
Well, they just showed you.
So, what? That there is a place for my AirPods?
There is a place for your AirPods.
But it's very comfortable. You know what I noticed is that the view out the back is very small and terrible.
Yeah, well, that third headrest, yeah.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle. So you have like just these teeny little pockets of rear view mirror.
Yeah, the pano sunroof.
Yeah. Oh yeah, which is pretty nice.
I mean, it is loaded. This is $53,000.
It's loaded. There's a lot of stuff in here. You can't say otherwise.
Let's see if you fit behind yourself.
Yeah. All right, here I am behind myself. It's actually not too bad. It looked smaller than I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, this seat, like, my knees are right here, so we couldn't go back any further, but it's very comfortable back here. Like this little bench, and I actually did ride back here when you drove the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I don't remember where we were going, but I drove back here. So it is pretty comfortable back here. The room is nice. I actually like this brown interior.
Yeah,
I'm not usually a brown fan, but it's kind of a pretty brown chocolate color with this like blue, gray, whatever stitching.
Yeah.
It looks very nice. The interior looks very lovely. I will give them that. And it's comfy, and there's a lot of headroom. Not bad at all. Good job, BMW.
Trying to help out the BMW X2 by doing my version of the summary from what I think is one of its more generous angles. So overall, what do I think of this BMW X2 xDrive 28i? It's not bad. I think both of us very fairly say this is neither of our cup of tea, okay? Yeah. You don't particularly like small hatchbacks. I mean, this is an SUV, but it's really just a tall hatchback. I don't particularly like them either, especially like something that looks like this at this price is kind of tough to swallow. However, there are things about this vehicle that are very good, and I think we always try to be very fair on this channel, and I will tell you, I'm not a fan of the way this thing looks at all. But from behind the wheel, I was surprised to find that like it does drive decently well for what it is. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a vehicle in this sort of class of vehicles that drives that well. And I know BMW purists are going to be like, rear-wheel drive, 3 Series and 5 Series. That's not what this is, okay? This is a front-wheel drive-based architecture with all-wheel drive. And in that class of vehicles, this is definitely going to be a pretty decent handler. All right, so I got no problem with the way this thing drives. I have no problem with the interior materials. I also think that it feels like a above $50,000 vehicle.
Yeah,
like the interior materials are very nice. The tech is pretty fantastic. This thing feels like if you said, I got a small BMW, but I got it loaded, it feels like your friends would go, oh yeah, it's like really nice in here. Now, what do they think of the outside? Well, that's up to them and the subjective opinions, but I don't think that they would think you overspent. I think they'd be like, okay, yeah, it feels like a $50-something thousand car. Now, Do I think that that's enough of a selling point? Well, my personal opinion. Some of the annoyances with the auto start system, the 7-speed dual clutch, it's great when you're driving it and you're getting kind of aggressive. But who really does that in a vehicle like this, okay? I agree with you. I think that it's very annoying in stop and go traffic. The throttle tip in, very annoying in stop and go traffic. It's too abrupt. And the switch over is too like on and off. Like you push too hard, you get too much. You don't push hard enough, it's super lethargic. It needs a little bit more of a smooth calibration. A lot of dual clutches suffer from that in that sort of first gear start from, you know, red light or something. This isn't any different. So for me personally, while I do like the interior and the tech, I'm not a big fan of the day-to-day livability of this car. It is really good in this class, but I think you'd be better off by either saving some money and buying a loaded mainstream brand or exploring a similar kind of offering from Mercedes or Audi, especially if you can find something that fits your lifestyle. And if you want this premium kind of class of vehicle, you know, that's up to you, whether it's worth it for the BMW badge. I'm not sure it is, even though I do think the interior is really nice. So I'll kick it over to you to take us away. But that's my thoughts on the X2.
Okay, now for the Megan wrap-up minute. Megan Malarkey. I don't know. Probably some of y'all think it's Malarkey.
How many subscribers have we lost as you describe the Megan moment?
Exterior, I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. I don't hate it, but I think it like kind of looks cool. I like the color. The shape doesn't bother me. It looks like a cool little fun hatchback. I like it. Interior, like a 9 out of 10. I think the interior looks great. The screen looks great. The tech looks great. It's very comfortable. The steering wheel is lovely. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. I don't have any complaints about the interior.
Right.
Driving wise, I'm gonna go like a 6 out of 10.
All because of that start-stop?
Yes, because that is like the most important part of the drive to me. First, and I don't know why, but like I feel like most cars, as you're going, they're just going. But like, how does it go off the gate, and how does it pull into the gate?
Go off the gate?
Yeah, like how do you pull out of the gate?
How do you? What,
is that not a thing people say? Pull out of the gate?
I mean, no. Leave
off the gate. Leave the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Horse racing terms here.
Well, maybe we're on a horse park, so
I mean, we are.
it seems fitting. What do you want me to say? How it starts and how it stops? How it gasses and how it brakes? All the middle stuff is fine. Like when you're driving, I'm thinking of this as a journey.
The act of driving.
A start, the middle, and then the end.
Okay,
The start,
wow.
no good.
This
The
is
middle,
weird.
good. The end, no good.
It's amazing anyone watches this channel.
Do you want me to film with you? So it's not my favorite exterior driving wise. I think I said what I say, a 6 out of 10. How much does that cost?
53, almost 53,000.
Almost 53. I don't know. For a loaded BMW, that doesn't seem like too bad. Kind of small, not too bad. I'll go like a 7 for
value.
For value, why
Okay.
not? So overall, I'd probably go like a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay.
Not too bad. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. Kind of in the middle. If you're a BMW enthusiast and you don't mind the start and stop. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Or
Please do ring the bell, but who knows if it even matters.
Who knows?